Good afternoon and welcome back to the Little French Homestead. Today we're going to be making some chicken and dumplings. Now, if you were with me earlier, a couple months back, I had made a bunch of soup starters. What a soup starter is diced celery, carrots, and onions. And it makes prepping time go by so much easier if you have already this stuff done. Thankfully, I remembered to take this stuff out last night. But if not, you can use it frozen right into here. You just need to wait just a little bit longer in order for all of this stuff to become translucent in this particular recipe. Well, we let that sit. I had to heat up a little bit of milk and the butter in here. I'm going to do it one more time. We're doing homemade dumplings. Excuse me. And I already had to thaw out my chicken broth. I took one out, but I didn't read the recipe until this morning, and it needed, I needed a total of 6 cups. So I said, well, let me get another one out. So all I did was just pop it in the microwave, and that was good to go. Now, a few months back, I went through my pack since then, but we had made some whole chickens, and then we used the broth. That broth I've already all used. We used a lot of chicken broth in this house, but also too, I did some shredded chicken. I usually put them in about a 1 to 1.5 pound bag, keep them frozen, so then that way, in order to have a nice, quick, fast meal, this is it right here. All right, so those are our dumplings. Trying to get this a little bit more on the cook side. Then we got to our mixtures. We're going to be adding in a whole bunch of seasonings. I'm going to link the recipe below. But we're going to be adding in a 1/4 cup of parsley, finely chopped. It obviously prefer if you have real parsley, but unfortunately I don't. It's my dried. You're going to do a tablespoon of Italian seasonings. You can do the seasonings in the pre-made mixes. I have them too. These are really good. But I do have my own homemade mixture, which I've used in mine. Trying to use that up. I would like to do a video shortly on how I make all of my homemade dry mixes for you, so you can see that. We are also going to be adding a tablespoon of garlic powder, 1/2 tablespoon of smoked paprika. I don't have smoked, it's just regular. 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme. Half a teaspoon of pepper, and a tablespoon of salt. This is a very simple recipe once you have all the ingredients out and all taken care of. And it goes by quite fast. The only thing that really takes the longest is when you have to put the dumplings in here and let everything, dumplings cook. All right, so the next thing on the recipe is after I add that, we're going to be adding all the seasonings in. So these are all the seasonings here. I'm going to be doing the salt and pepper on the side. I'm just going to do I'll do a full tablespoon. Season it to your liking, obviously. And then a full tablespoon of salt. I'm sorry, full teaspoon of salt. You're going to want to let that mix all together. You want to marry all the flavors. And sometimes I am really good at having all of my ingredients out before I start cooking. Some days I'm not. I can be a real mess in the kitchen trying to figure out what I need and what different recipe. It's always good to have your mise en place all ready. All right, and then once we've added that, I've made this a few times, well, several times, but I keep forgetting the recipe. All right, so we're gonna add all the cream in the broth. All right, so you want 1 can of cream of chicken. Now, I have done this with homemade, you know, cream of chicken, and it just doesn't taste the same. You can certainly go ahead and use it, but I personally really like the canned cream of chicken in this particular recipe. So I'm gonna mix this in here first. And then I know this is 6 cups. And if it's a little under, that's fine. Homemade broth is absolutely the best, but if you don't have it, it is okay. If you go ahead and use store-bought, there is nothing wrong with store-bought broth. And then we want to go ahead and add the chicken at this time frame. We're going to let this bring up to a boil. And while we bring this up to a boil, we're going to go ahead and start with the dumplings. I still have a little bit of a cough, but other than that, I'm feeling much better. I am making the soup for myself today, really. I've been having a lot of the lemon and ginger tea, which has been really very helpful. All right, so to the mixture, let me just clean this up a sec. We are going to be adding in 2 cups of flour. I'm going to go ahead and get a spoon in here and just mix up the flour a little bit. When it sits for so long, it can throw your measurements off. Must have taken the spoon in here that I had the last time because I left the spoon in there. All right, so also too, we're gonna need 1 tablespoon of salt for this. I'm gonna spread it all around. And then I need 4 teaspoons of baking powder. So I keep my baking powder up here in the, this is my area baking powder. This needs to get completely organized and redone again at some point. It's a little messy, but I know where everything is all at. I keep my main spices all right down here. So then that way it's very easy for me to reach. So that's how that is. I'm gonna fluff this up a little bit because again, this has been sitting for a bit. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Gonna give that a good little whisk all around. Want to make sure that all of this is coming and mixing together. When that is done, I'm just going to mix this in to make sure that the milk and the butter is well mixed together as well. Pour this all in here. And see, just at the right time, this is coming up to a boil. This smells absolutely delicious. My family loves this particular dinner. I mean, there's not one that they don't like. I mean, I got to get back to my batch cooking. I got a lot of batch cooking that I was usually doing. I haven't done that in a bit. And I was told by my family, no more lasagnas. I was doing like 2 lasagnas. I would do a meat one and I would do a cheese lasagna. I've got a girl, she absolutely loves, pick that up later, she absolutely loves lasagnas, but I lasagnaed them out completely. So I do a nice homemade mac and cheese. So I have plans on doing a lot of this big batch cooking stuff going on. Got a lot of recipes that my family really does love. But they've told me a few times, Ma, I don't like this. And I go, all right. So we put that on the back burner. And I make that every once in a while. And then I have my family favorites that they go, oh yeah, you could make this again and again and again. So I go, okay. And then I overdo it and I make it again and again and again. That's what happened to lasagna. And then that's why one of my daughters was like, one of my daughters doesn't like lasagna at all. She doesn't like the ricotta, and even when I've tried it with something else, still doesn't want it. I'm like, it's just spaghetti with different sized noodles. She don't care. All right, so see, now this is brought up to a nice boil, perfect timing. I'm just gonna give this a nice little stir. I'm going to turn this down to low. Just wanna make sure I give it a really nice stir. And then all you're gonna do with these, just take them in about a 1 to a 1.5 inch scoop, ice cream scoop if you've got one, or you can roll it into balls into your hand. That's all you're doing, is just plopping this in here. This could normally make anywhere between 15 to 20 size, depending on how big you want to go with these dumplings. Some days I get really fancy and I do what I'm doing here. Some days I just go ahead and just grab a whole handful and just start dosing it all in. My hands are getting sticky. Then you're going to want to let this sit covered, still on low, for about 20 to 25 minutes. And we're going to have ours with a nice side salad. We've already used all of my dad's fresh lettuce that he gave us. So we gotta dig into the store-bought, which is obviously not as good as fresh, but that's okay. You gotta take it when you can get it. All right, I can do one more after this. That works out great. Just use that. All right, perfect. Get in there. All righty, so this is what it looks like. I'm gonna bring you over and let you see it. And I'm gonna put the lid on it, and I'm gonna come back in about 20-25 minutes to let you know how it went. See you back. All right, so we're back right now, and I'm gonna show you the chicken and dumpling soup. Look at that. That is absolutely divine. Now, if you do it in a Dutch oven, you're really gonna wanna use a pot holder to take that lid off, or you're gonna burn your hand. Trust me, I know. I've done it more than enough times. So I've got my soup bowl here, and I'm gonna go ahead and ladle some of this in here. I wanna go ahead and get some of that juicy broth. And another dumpling. Gonna let that sit for a few seconds because I know that that is hot. I made my salad here. Homemade croutons, but the carrots and lettuce are from the store, which is fine. Let me get a tongs so I can go ahead and pick this salad up. These are my mom's tongs. We used to do a lot of catering parties, and we used to put these out, and I've always loved them. They remind me of like little chicken feet, you know. I'm gonna take a little bit of lettuce, some carrots. This is all we have in the house right now, lettuce, carrots, and homemade croutons. My shopping trip is tomorrow, and I will go ahead and get a little bit more tomorrow. So let me go ahead and get a spoon, give this a little taste. I also want a little bit of a dumpling. I know this is gonna be super, super hot. Dumplings are cooked perfectly. Nice and moist on the inside, not doughy at all. Soup's got a nice creamy texture to it, good flavor, more than enough spices in here. Salt is not overpowering, because when I had done my broth, when I usually do my homemade broth, I don't add any salt to it, any flavorings. When I do the, you know, the onions, the carrots, and the celery base to bring out that nice umami flavor. But I usually don't add any seasonings because I don't know what I'm adding it to normally. So I like to keep my broth unflavored for salt and pepper. Then I can flavor it as I need it to go. Because most recipes, you don't know how much salt or pepper you're going to be needing. So I don't want to ruin my dish by adding all that extra salt from my chicken broth. All right, well, thank you for being here today. And I just want to say, really appreciate all of you guys watching and posting and commenting. You guys are unreal, and it is so much appreciated. I can start feeling the love coming around, and it's really good. So thank you for visiting my home today. If you would like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Add comments if you want to see more videos like this. But most importantly, go ahead and subscribe, and please keep on cooking. Bye, y'all.